Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Talk Scottish Football podcast. On to episode number 7 now, David.
7.
We're doing well.
We are. We're still here.
We're doing a lot better than I originally thought we would when we set off, but
well, we've set ourselves little targets and we're
hitting them,
surpassing them.
We're
so
doing
far.
well, and that's a big thank you to everybody who has been listening so far.
Yep.
But obviously the midweek fixtures are done. The weekend is coming up. We've got a few things on hand. We've got the Scottish Cup. We've got games in Championships League 1 and 2. But first off, I've got to cover the games from last night where I was close to fulfilling what I said.
Yeah, you are. Well, I mean, you were
close.
right in that you said both teams would win.
Aye, I was this close to having to come on this podcast and say that's the league
I know.
done.
I was kind of hoping you would, because
I
that was the title right there. League over.
I was ready. I was like watching the games. I was watching the Celtic game. I was watching.
We'll start with Celtic then, shall we?
I was watching the scores come through, and I thought to myself, well, I've got to go in here tomorrow and say.
Well, having watched the Celtic game last night, I had the Celtic game on the TV, the Rangers game on the laptop, watching the two of them, or trying to at least. The first 25 minutes, half hour, I thought, oh my God, Motherwell are going to do it tonight.
I know, despite us scoring very early on.
I know, they kept having chances. They looked so dangerous. The boy Aaron's looked a threat. It was like. And
that was his debut last night, and all I can say is Motherwell have done a great bit of business there. Despite falling away in the second half, not doing too much, he still, he looked really positive, created a lot for them.
Yeah, and I mean, they definitely had chances. I mean, for the first half hour, they probably had the better chances.
The first
really.
half, I'd say they looked the better team.
Yeah,
Celtic looked lazy.
And the thing is, it's such a compliment to Motherwell that you thought, even Celtic going in ahead, you still felt Motherwell had a chance, which is a testament to how well Stephen Robinson's doing. Because
at half time, the main conversation I had was that in the second half, I feel like it could be Motherwell's game.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it was. We just looked a bit flat. I mean, despite, as I already mentioned, despite scoring early, we just looked flat all round. We didn't look as though we were into the game. Forrest was quiet. Even the players who turned up in the second half looked quiet.
I thought Griffiths did well in the first half. I was really impressed with his first half performance because, Edouard's going to get all the headlines from last night, and rightly so. But Griffiths' first half, the amount of times he won the ball high, he came in, he won fouls, he flicked it on, his link-up was brilliant. And normally when you think of Lee Griffiths, you think of like a striker, a proper finisher. Mm-hmm. He played like a number 10 last night.
Like his game has changed completely, and we wrote him off. A lot of people wrote him off, including Celtic fans. Only a matter of weeks ago, and now he's coming out of the team, and his performance last night, I mean, he's keeping
Ryan Christie and Tom Rogic out of the team just now.
I know, that's correct, because this time before the winter break, Ryan Christie was probably, you could say, the best player on the team.
Yeah, probably.
And now he
can't get in because of how well Griffiths
is playing.
Exactly,
that's it. But Edouard, what a performance from him. I mean, what does Celtic have to do to keep that guy?
They're not going to keep him in the summer.
No, I know, it's sad,
just,
isn't
and I think Lennon
sad.
kind of has hinted at that. He said midweek, enjoy it while it's here, kind of thing, because. Wow. He's got everything.
He's another level, and you could arguably say he's the best player Celtic have had since Henry Larsson.
I've seen lots of that on Twitter last night. Sutton came out and said that live on TV last night.
Exactly, that is the comment. Do you think he's the best player Celtic have had since Larsson? I mean, Celtic have seen some fantastic players. Just to list a few, you got Moussa Dembele in there. You've had the likes of Shinsuke Nakamura in there.
I think people said at the time Dembele was the best since Larsson. I think Edouard's.
I know, I agreed with that statement.
I think Edouard's better now than Dembele was when he was at Celtic.
It's mental.
Slightly different types of players, and I think Dembele was just more of a ruthless goal scorer.
I think the thing that really differentiates him now is the fact that Edouard, in his 3 years at Celtic, compared to Moussa Dembele's time at Celtic, there's a big difference in the fitness, because Dembele missed a lot of games. Yeah. And Edouard has, capitalised on being fit for the majority of his time.
He keeps adding like different strings to his bowl. He keeps starting to do different things. I mean, the free kick. My goodness,
like every week he adds something new.
Yeah,
there's a new dimension. His game is unlocked. It's like you're unlocked.
You watch him when he dribbles the ball, and it's actually stuck to his feet. Like when he's running at people, he'll take it past 3 or 4, and you just can't get near him.
But if Pierre Law has any sort of brain, he will try at least to maybe throw a massive wage at him to keep him for it one more year.
I thought so, but I think Celtic are going to get 50 million for him in the summer.
Do you think 50 is high?
I do,
50?
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's players in the world going for sums of money like that who don't score don't score goals.
Look, at the prime example for me is, right, if Sheffield United are signing Oliver McBurney for £20 million, what does that make
Edouard is 5 times a player McBurney.
I certainly agree with you. I think Celtic should be looking for a fee in the region of 40,
minimum
£50
million for me.
But
minimum.
Will they get it?
I think so.
I hope so.
If you're Manchester United, Odsonne Edouard walks into that team.
If I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I would kill for a player like Edouard.
Absolutely, he would walk into that team. I mean, it's not just that. I mean, there's teams all over the world that are just looking for a striker, and I think they'll think they can get him on the cheap, and Celtic are going to have to stand their ground, I think. Because
If
they lose him for £30 million, I mean, that's nowhere near
we say
enough.
all the time. I mean, I think we done a good bit of business with Tierney, considering he's got hips like biscuits.
Yeah.
You know, we got 25 million for him.
I said that at the time. I said this is going to be a great deal for Celtic, and everyone laughed at me.
25 million for Tierney. We got 20 million for Dembele. For me, two fees that we could have definitely, maybe not so much with Tierney, we could have definitely got more out of. We can't do that this time.
How much was Dembele again, sorry?
£20 million.
So, yeah, I see.
To Leon. I mean, for me, he was a £30 million player.
Yeah.
And
I think he was then. I think Edouard's better now, and plus the market is even more ridiculous
the
now.
market skyrockets every year.
£40 million for me, at minimum.
That
Celtic
would be
should have
ideal. And at Celtic, I think if they can keep Edouard at the team 10 in a row, is even more realistic than what it would be without him.
Just depends if he wants it, though.
I know.
If he wants it.
Attitude. Because that's the thing. As much as it's easy for Celtic fans to turn around and say, right, throw the boy 50 grand a week, keep him at the club for another year. He might say to himself, I don't want to be here another year, you know,
Yeah.
I want to go in France, I want to go to England, I don't know, wherever he wants to play.
He's a very quiet character. He doesn't say an awful lot. I mean, he's all the charisma of a toothbrush, man. Have you seen his post-match interviews?
Brilliant.
Very good, very good. Yeah.
I don't book.
Yeah, exactly. Just
But,
mental.
I mean, second half performance of Celtic, outstanding. Motherwell was surely disappointed with the collapse.
Yeah,
in the
I
second
think
half.
for Stephen Robinson, though, I don't think he'll dwell on it too much.
No, they can't. That's the thing. No one in the league can dwell on.
I mean, that's the best
losses
I've seen
to
Celtic play
Rangers.
for ages.
I know. I
That's
feel
it,
like, you know, we looked at the first half performance against St Johnstone last week.
and they were great.
Outstanding. Tailed off in the second half. This week, first half wasn't great. Second half, outstanding.
Yeah, that might be a slight worry for Lennon, because the last three games have been the same. They've had one good half and one bad half.
Uh-huh.
They've, like, you know, if when it comes to like an Old Firm game, they're going to need to combine all the good that they're doing. Because I mean, they started pretty horribly at Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended pretty horribly at St Johnstone. And last night, they weren't bad first half last night, but it did take them a while to get going.
I mean, apart from obviously scoring after that, it was just.
There's one. I mean, everyone's been talking about Griffiths and Edouard for Celtic recently. But for me, the player that I think deserves all the chat for me is Olivier Ntcham.
And Cham has came
Wow.
on.
I mean,
his attitude has changed.
He's always had
That's what he's
that
wants.
ability, and I don't think anyone's ever questioned that. But he's never been able to have a run
I
of
feel
5,
like
6,
it's
7 games at that
always
level.
been the attitude that's held him back. The attitude is what's like. I think there's been times where he doesn't look as though he wants to play for Celtic. I don't think he can be bothered. But when he can be bothered, he's easily one of the best players in the country.
I mean, since he came back after winter break, he's been outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And we say Griffiths is keeping Christie at the team just as much as Ntcham is as well. Yeah.
That's last night. I think every player in the park deserved a credit for Celtic. James Forrest being the only one who I thought didn't really perform in the game. Still missing.
Yes.
I mean, it's only a matter of time before you maybe think about.
You just want about like 3 weeks before the playoff, he'll start hitting the form.
I know, that's what happens. You know, the Rangers game, he'll start playing well up to that, and then he'll disappear against Rangers. Probably that's what will happen.
Probably. Right. Speaking of Rangers,
We'll move on there because
let's move on
they
there.
left it late, didn't they?
I mean, as I said, I managed to watch the games, both the games. Sadly. Bobby Madden got an absolute slating from Rangers fans last night.
I noticed that. I've seen that a lot of people were saying that Madden tried his best to
Have you seen the goal? The first goal?
I've not seen the first goal.
Right. Okay. The first goal for Hibs.
Was it a penalty?
No, it was. They were claiming for a foul on Alan McGregor. I think it was Doidge that jumped for the header up against McGregor. I might be wrong, but Hibs player jumped for a header up against McGregor, and it's one of those that you've seen them given, and the goalie gets protected.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad it wasn't given, because for me it's not a foul. The Hibs boys jumped for the ball before McGregor's even rushed out to it, and McGregor's just kind of ran into him.
Can I just say something, David? Jumped for the ball.
Don't
Jumped
even
for
start.
the ball.
Jump. Yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to call you out for this now. The graphic Griffiths stomp. What was he? Seth Rollins with a curb stomp. Like he stamped. God, it was a stamp.
Why
not a
do you
stomp.
think in the actual title I used stamp?
I know, and
It
then
was
you
only
wrote
in the thumbnail I used
graphics.
stomp, and I realised my mistake.
Yeah, well.
Right, no, that's right, okay. We'll let it slip out.
So yeah, McGregor, Alan McGregor normally is the type that takes absolutely zero prisoners and comes out, and you expect him to kick the boy in the head to win the ball, and it was just a bit soft. That, and Hibs went ahead. First half, they probably deserved to go in ahead. So then Rangers get the equaliser, bang on half time. That was a vital time to score. Edmondson, who
it seemed
came
like
in
the
for
story
Katic.
that was painted to me by Rangers fans in the first half was very similar to the game against Aberdeen at the weekend, where they did have the majority of possession, but they're not doing anything.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't matter how much of the ball you have to do something.
The few that I spoke to last night who basically said, a lot of Twitter was ablaze with the referees, this, that, and the next thing, but a lot of the Rangers fans I spoke to just said that there's no excuses for that. They were just poor yet again. Second half, they did look a lot better. Constant pressure. Hadji got the goal. What a cracking goal he scored.
Goal. It's a brilliant finish.
But not just the goal. What I will say about him though is he didn't look like he looked like he'd always been in that team. He didn't look like he was coming in from the cold. Like normally players take time to adapt. He looked like a part of that team last night, and he was very, very impressive. Always looked to make things happen. Great goal as well.
There was a lot of talk about whether, especially on the opposition side, I think Celtic fans had the feeling that it was going to be a panic buy and it wasn't going to do much. But I certainly think from
last night's evidence he's going to get.
I certainly think from last night and just by what I've seen of him, I think he's definitely going to be a good signing for Rangers. I think he's going to add a lot to the team. I think it's a lot of maybe what they've been missing. I think in January, I think going into the window, if I was a Rangers fan, God forbid, if I was a Rangers fan, I would be thinking to myself, right, the positions that we need in this team, I think we need a creative midfielder, because a creative central midfielder, because they have great players in behind there with Jack and Kamara who can play well at times and stuff.
Yeah.
Then they've got the striker Morelos. They've got people out on the wings. Well, maybe the right wing may be lacking a bit.
I suppose they've got Davis, but he's a bit more deep lying.
Yeah, that's the thing. Davis is at that age now where I think he comes back a little bit more.
Looking for someone who's more of a natural number 10.
They needed a number 10.
Yeah.
Along with, I think they needed a couple more positions as well, which they could have touched up on, but it's a completely different topic. But Hadji, I think, will fit into this team.
Yeah, I think a lot of people said at the end of the deadline that both the Old Firm sides had done nothing to strengthen their first team. And I think people Rangers fans would have probably agreed with that up until what they saw from Hadji last night. He can definitely come in and between now and the end of the season improve that.
He looks like he's got a lot of great technique.
Yeah, I mean he's a flair player by the looks of things. So, and Rangers midfield in the sort of big games, you think of them like the Old Firm games, the games in Europe, having the sort of workman-like midfield when you've got Jack, Kamara, Arfield or Davis, they'll get stuck in, they'll be tenacious. That works in the really big games when it's even, but see when you've got to break teams down, that's when you need someone who's a little bit more creative in the middle, a little bit more of a flair player. And
that's why Celtic have so much success with players like Christie, Rogic and such.
McGregor's a perfect example of that.
I think that's what Rangers needed, and this is the perfect outlet for that. I think he'll fit right in, and I think it's only a matter of time before we get onto that conversation as well, when we get to see, I think Morelos still yet to get back to his best.
Yeah.
When he is at his best with Hadji, I think that'll be potentially clinical link up between those two.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. It's only a matter of time before Morelos gets back in the goals. I don't think anyone's going to be too worried about it. Especially if they're back to winning ways without him scoring.
Look, at the same time, Rangers fans have to consider, yes, it's been disappointing. They've came back, they've dropped points, but it's been 3 tough games. Tynecastle, Aberdeen, Hibs.
Yeah.
You can't expect Morelos to... It's the same with Edouard. If Edouard went through those 3 games without scoring, there's no need for worry. I don't think... there's no Rangers fans claiming there's a worry, but Morelos will be back in the goals very soon.
You'd have thought so.
I mean, he'll be wanting to... You can tell he'll be wanting to catch Edouard. That'll be in his mind. He'll want to finish top scorer.
To be honest, I don't think there's anything like that in his mind. I think he's just... I don't think he's that far... I don't think he thinks that far ahead. I literally just think he thinks...
I think there is that battle.
I actually... I don't even think he knows what he's doing. So, I don't know how he can plan. When you watch him play, he's just like... I love watching him play.
The personal accolade of the goal scorer, the top goal scorer award. I think
maybe at the end of the season he'd be interested, but I think right now he just kick ball and goal kind of thing. I don't think he's too much.
This ball, there goal.
Yeah, I don't think he. To be honest, I genuinely don't think he knows what he's doing. So, yeah.
But that was at Ibrox. Where do we head next? Hearts and Kelly. There was a shocker there. I mean,
Stendel's got us playing. Hearts are back.
I mean, are they back?
Well, listen. I've been a massive sort of backer of Daniel Stendel. I've been on record of saying that I think Hearts are back, and then you look at last night and I'm thinking, oh my god,
it could have been a lot worse. They could have been battled. They could have been absolutely battled.
They go 3-0 down. I was thinking, what is going on there?
Exactly, they go 3-0 down, and at that point I'm thinking to myself, Kelly can go and score another few.
But this is Kelly who haven't been able to score goals for ages.
But what is it? The exact thing you said to me last night.
Yeah.
Kelly can't hit a barn door and Hearts are back.
Yeah, exactly. And
then what we see.
The other way around. I mean, Hearts... at least they're scoring goals again, albeit it came a little too late, but they're just conceding too many still.
Yep.
It's 6 goals in 2 games against, what was it, St Johnstone and Kelly, 2 teams who have really struggled for goals this season.
Touch on very briefly, I was the one that picked John Souttar for my team, for my Scotland team.
But yet you're still winning the poll, which I don't get.
And the poll
Forrest rubbish last night, Souttar rubbish last night. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I'm not bitter or anything, it's fine.
Chris didn't play last night.
But so Hearts, I don't know what. I mean, they had lots of shots. They had lots of shots on target. They had lots of the ball. But you can't concede 3 goals at home, especially to a team like Kelly who struggles for goals.
We talk about this. We talk about how Hearts make Tynecastle a horrible place to go for teams like Celtic and Rangers. Why is it not this the case for any other team?
I don't know. I mean,
why can they not create it? Because I hate going to Tynecastle. I think it's one of the worst places in the league. We touched on this when Rangers were beaten at Tynecastle.
Yeah.
How can a team like Kelly go there and play so freely.
Maybe the
score
atmosphere
free
is
goals.
just a bigger
Oh,
factor than we think, because
aye.
it wouldn't have been. You
No,
wouldn't
the
imagine
atmosphere
it
last
would
night
have
couldn't have been great. We
No.
play Hearts, glorious Hearts. That'll be at the start,
Yeah.
then bang. Where do we go from there? But I mean, even at that, the team and the intensity on the park has to remain the same. You'd imagine when they play at their home ground. I mean, one thing that I commented on from Celtic last night in the second half was the intensity they used against Motherwell made Motherwell nervous. Why can Hearts not use the players to their disposal when they've got players like Naismith, who has been known for being a wee dirty minx?
Yeah.
Right? How can they not get? How can they not get the intensity?
Oh, I'm
from
definitely
those
using
players?
that as an audio clip this week.
Why can they
dirty
not?
minx.
Why
God
can they
almighty.
not get that intensity from players like him week in, week out at Tynecastle?
I don't know. I mean, it's been since the Rangers game. It's actually been a really horrible sort of time for Hearts.
Turn of events.
I mean, the weekend people could have said. I said it. The fact that they got the late goal keeps the positivity going, but to get just the 1 point out of Kelly and St Johnstone, considering Hamilton against Celtic looked good against Celtic, they got a point last night. By all accounts, they could have had 3. So Hearts are now, on their own at the bottom again. So it's literally 1 step forward, 2 steps back for Hearts just now.
A wee bit of line dancing.
Yeah.
From the boys in maroon. But Kilmarnock, fair play to them. This could be a big turn in events for their season.
Brophy back in amongst the goals too.
That's what they needed. They needed Brophy, and Bucks continuing his form as
he's been
well.
amazing.
I mean, for a guy who we've already spoke about his age, he's still going.
What was it you said? 75.
75-year-old, and he's still going strong. I know his family, Chris Buck.
Do you? You know everybody's family.
The family for Easterhouse. Lovely people.
Oh, nice. Okay, very good.
So that was the score at Tynecastle. 3-2. Do Kilmarnock carry on? Do you think so, or do you think this is just a flash in the pan?
Well, they seem to have turned a wee corner. Back-to-back wins. They can't really come. You wouldn't have seen that coming.
Mm-hmm. I mean, especially with 7 losses on the bounce.
Yeah. So, I mean, Alex Dyer will be delighted that they managed to get that monkey off the back and get the wins, and who knows what will happen there. I mean, look at the table, actually. If they can string some runs together, a top 6 is now.
I know that's only a point behind Hibs. We've all played apart from Rangers and St Johnstone, who have yet to play a game in hand.
I mean, St Johnstone as well. We'll move on to St Johnstone next, because I really want to talk about Tommy Wright.
On you go.
I mean, when we said,
take it away.
I think one of the first episodes of the podcast, there was questions about Tommy Wright. We spoke about how people had questioned his management. Was he the right man? And we kind of said that who's going to get this better than Tommy Wright? He is the most underrated manager in this country, Tommy Wright, for me.
Tommy Wright is a man who I am not going to sit back here and lie, and I know it will get laughed at. I didn't think he was the answer, but when Rangers were stuck in a situation when they needed a manager for 3 or 4 months, I thought he could have definitely been someone who could have went in there and steered the ship.
Yeah.
He is a good manager. There's no denying it. He's the longest serving manager in the league, bar McInnes, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, there we go. He beat McInnes last night, but with the resources he's had, it's unbelievable the job he's done at St Johnstone over the past nearly 10 years.
It's just what a turnaround. I mean, they're literally 3 points off top 6 with a game in hand.
It's crazy because
I think a lot of people would have said they were doomed.
the start of the season, I swear to God, the exact words that I used, I believe it was live on YouTube. It was about maybe 8-9 games into the season. I said St Johnstone are going down.
Yeah,
that was I thought it. I thought they were going down. Now I mean, they've turned such a corner.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
The boy McCann who scored last night, youngster, plays in midfield. He's scoring goals, getting assists from midfield. He looks good. They've sorted out. Well, last night they clearly sorted out their defensive worries to get a clean sheet. I mean,
by all means, it wasn't a game for that you remember, but
no. I think we said it was going to be a pretty dull. I said it was going to be a dull affair, and I wasn't wrong. But
I said it was going to be 3-0 Aberdeen. Tommy
Wright, what a job he's done. I mean, he's taken St Johnstone to top 6 against the odds before. He's got every chance to do that again, I think.
It's another question towards Derek McInnes as well. Like how
the point I brought on Saturday was just kind of papering over the cracks. But
I know Aberdeen fans. I mean, how much longer can they withstand this?
I mean, they've got Kelly in the cup at the weekend.
They really need a result there,
and then they've got Hamilton away. These 2 games will define whether he stays or not. If they don't win both of them games,
see, the thing is, even if McInnes does get through, right, gets through this round of the cup, gets Aberdeen. See, even if he gets Aberdeen to the final, right? Let's just say, for talking sakes, it gets Aberdeen to the cup final. I don't think, unless he wins a cup, gets a positive finish in the league.
Yeah,
I don't think Aberdeen fans want him.
I completely agree.
I think
there's some of them who kind of are a bit more level-headed about the whole thing, but there seems to be a lot who just think no matter what he does, if he gets the cup final and gets beaten in the cup final, I think there'll still be just as many who want rid of him.
Oh, I think it'll be.
But if they get put out of the cup this weekend and then they go and get beat off Hamilton next midweek, I don't know how he can survive that really.
It's just a question.
Poisonous at Aberdeen.
I know, it's just a question of how much influence do the fans have over the board at this point, because this has happened for 2 or 3 years now. You know, there's been points just please get rid of McInnes.
Yeah,
and then he's kind of saved his bait.
He always tends to come good.
He does something, and then they're like, okay, right, maybe this is an upturn, and then no.
But then I think Aberdeen fans have worried that what happens when Cosgrove's goals dry up. That's happened, and there is literally no one else in that team who scores goals. Nobody.
Because I've got Curtis Main in there, but
doesn't score goals.
Does it do anything.
They had the boy Wilson who they've let go because he didn't score goals.
A former Man United player at that as well. And at that point, Derek McInnes must be scratching his head and going, where do I find a striker? Because I've got a former Man United player in there. They've got someone who performed at a decent level for Motherwell.
But they don't even play like nice football. It's like they've got a lot of dig in the midfield. They've got lots of, they tackle hard. They're a really competitive team, especially. That's why they did so well at Rangers at the weekend. They go long to Cosgrove, but it's like they don't have any other ideas apart from that. They got the boy Kennedy in from St Johnstone, really good young technical player. Give the ball at his feet. Let him do something with the ball. He's not gonna. How is he gonna make a career of himself at Aberdeen if he's just playing off second balls?
I know, because you look at that result last night, you wonder why Kennedy made the switch.
Well, exactly. He was St Johnstone's best player.
Exactly, and now he's on the opposite end to his former team. When he could, to be honest, for me, Kennedy, they've been better off going to Hearts. Hearts were another team interested in him. I think he would have been better off there.
Yeah,
I think
at least they tried to play some football.
Exactly, I think Stendhal would have suited him a bit more than what McInnes. Because at this point, when what you said there, the only thought running through my head is McInnes just out of ideas?
Yeah, I think he's kind of praying that Cosgrove's going to find the net again.
And you can only do so much. Only so much praying can be done.
So, where are we going to go next? Ross County?
Yeah, Livy and Ross County. I mean,
what a result for County.
That's a big result. We spoke about the pressure that the managers would have been facing over there.
I think we both fancied them to get a point. I fancied them to get something. The fact they got all three was just amazing.
That's the thing. I think, despite how good Livingston have been this season, they've been absolutely terrific. They've been probably the kind of Cinderella story, if you like, of the league.
Yeah.
What I said in the last podcast was, going away up north when you're not even playing in a plastic park, because that's what they're used to, it makes things difficult. And Ross County took advantage of every sort of situation they could have in that game.
It was kind of do or die time for County. I think if they'd have lost, especially with Kelly winning last night, Hamilton getting a point. I think they really needed to get something last night, and Billy Mackay
back
double
again. He needs to. That's the thing at the start of the season.
He's got goals in him. So.
That's the thing at the start of the season. I said, Billy Mackay, big player for Ross County this season. He'll do a lot, and he started the first couple of games looking good. Scored a few goals.
I mean, the boy Stewart up front, who's out injured just now. He's kind of the main man up front. He started well. He went out injured, and the goals dried up. Like Graham wasn't scoring, Mackay wasn't scoring, Irvin isn't scoring.
And it's a team as well. You look at the table. And it's another team that if somehow they could string form together, they're another team that's talking about a potential 6th place finish.
This is why I think, just to touch back on Hearts really quickly, this is why I think, for as much as I thought they were going to be turning it around, and I still think they're going to stay up, but 2-3 weeks ago, the bottom 6 are really bunched up and close, but now you look at it,
a wee bit of a spread in there.
The top 3 of the bottom 6 are starting to pull away a little bit.
Aye.
So...
Because that's St Johnstone, they look like they have a lot of
confidence
back.
They've turned it round. Kelly have turned it round.
By all means, the last 2 games have showed they've got confidence back.
Ross County, they've had a bad run recently, but they've had some really tough fixtures. The Old Farm away, they've got a big win last night.
Their month in January was probably the worst in the league.
Yeah.
January was the toughest month they could have been handed.
Yeah, so they're starting to turn it around a little bit. Hamilton are showing signs that, I know they got beat at the weekend off Celtic. I was impressed with them. Last night they got a point, could have had with all 3. So, Hamilton are going to put up a fight. St Mirren, you fancy St Mirren to stay up, so Hearts are really, really going to have to...
They need to get a finger out.
Yeah.
Big time. They need boys, Naismith, all the rest of them to play. That's what I'm saying. This intensity week in, week out needs to be there, because if they don't have it week in, week out, that'll see Hearts go down if they don't do it.
Yeah, I think just as much, probably more importantly, to shoot at the back line, because it's not... I mean, at least they're scoring goals now, whereas they weren't the first half of the season.
The thing is, our Hearts purely just relying on results in the big games, because they seem to turn up in the big games and do it, and in the wee games that's where they'll get they can't just rely on maybe we'll catch Rangers and Celtic on an off day and that'll give us confidence, because it's not happening for them quite clearly.
They just, I don't know, every time you think they've sorted it out, they tend to just take another knock.
The question from the game though, will Livy bounce back? Do you think they'll get back into form?
Yeah,
they'll surely come back from that.
They're just too mentally strong as a team, too good a manager to let that really affect them. I think that'll just be a wee blip for them. But
I imagine they'll sort it out. And then the final game to speak about,
St Mirren Hamilton.
St Mirren Hamilton, by all means, we're not going to be talking a lot about this. It wasn't the most exciting.
Both sides will be really frustrated.
You spoke before the show.
Really frustrated.
David Templeton.
Yeah, back in it. Hamilton scored last night. He could almost single-handedly keep them up this year. He's that good a player. I mean, he was great last time he was there. It's not taking him long to get started
a player
again.
Whose career probably didn't pan out the way you would have expected.
Yeah, injuries have knackered his career, but well, not. I mean, he started a good career in professional football, but he could have been, a lot more than he was if it wasn't.
The promise that was there just kind of didn't fulfil itself because of
happened with so many young players like that.
Aye, especially it seems to happen with Scottish players a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Scottish players especially.
But no, I mean, he scored last night. St Mirren, both sides will be so frustrated they didn't win that game though, because a win would have been massive for both of them.
Especially St Mirren being at home.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is for St Mirren, and we spoke about you spoke about how Hamilton have showed signs of being an improving team, but St Mirren have showed signs of just being a really good footballing side at points. They've got the players in there. I think their problem is as well, St Mirren need a goal scorer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what they need because Obika he's alright, but
he isn't a natural goal scorer. He's not going to score you 15, 20 a season.
I mean, the thing that summed up for me was the miss against, who was it they played last week?
Aberdeen.
Yeah,
one-on-one. He probably just had too much time to think about it.
They need someone who's as clinical as the team.
Well, that's why we say Boyce is going to be massive for Hearts.
Exactly.
I mean,
obviously St Mirren aren't going to sign someone like Boyce, but
no,
they need a finisher. That's what they need, because you look at 11 shots, 2 on target, not good enough. That's what's struggling them, because I think they've got it sorted out in the middle of the park. I think they've got a terrific looking side for a team of their level, and defensively they seem to be solid.
Yeah,
moving forward,
losing Paul McGinn though will be a bit of a blow, I thought.
Because he's obviously away at Hibs now and following the footsteps of John.
Yeah, I think Hibs, it's the first time a club has signed a song. I think they just signed McGinn to get the "We've Got McGinn" song back.
Super Paul McGinn.
But no, I mean, one each doesn't really do much for either side. Hamilton off the bottom, so they'll be happy with that. But I think both will be disappointed not to pick up 3 points.
That's 2 of the 10-match ban served for Brian Rice, is it?
Yeah.
So 2 now. Yep. So the sooner he's back, the better, I'd imagine. But that was the Premiership last night. I mean, not much changes.
It was an interesting night, though.
Interesting, but not much changes. Apart from probably more down the bottom end. It changes a bit more. Well, we're this close to having the title one, I would say, at Celtic Park. There would be a party at the Gallagate last night, but we move on.
We'll preview the weekend. So we've got the Cup this weekend, but we're going to start quickly go through the league games. There's not that many this weekend. There's 2 in the Championship. Morton at home to Queen of the South and Dundee at home to Partick Thistle. Now there's 4 teams who could be doing with 3 points.
All 4 of them are in a need for something, especially the one that jumps out at me is Dundee and Partick. Both of those teams are the one. That is the big game. And
Thistle won up at Dens earlier in the season, one of McCall's first games. Dundee have been woeful.
They have dropped big time, because obviously before the winter break in the Premiership anyway, before that sort of period of time, you looked at Dundee up the top end of the table, think playoff side here.
But even if they do make the playoffs this season, and they might still do that, there's no way they're coming up.
No,
they're just not good enough for me.
Not good enough at all.
Ayr and Inverness are both a lot better than them, and whoever's in the second bottom spot in the Premiership will be better than them. I just don't see Dundee coming up this year.
Dunfermline are better than them.
On their day, yeah. But I mean, Thistle as well. McCall said it himself in interviews. Since he came in, it's kind of been 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and they've got a goal scorer now in Brian Graham. He could be the difference.
Because this, for me, screams out the 1 step forward. I could see Partick going up to Dundee.
Well, I mean, that was one of the perfect examples of that. They went to Dens and won, then they went and got beat 2 in the bounce. So, it's massive. I think I don't even know what's going on at Dundee, because James McPake, I feel like there's been so many options this season where they could have got rid of him, and then they went back to him in January again. They brought more players in, so.
You don't know
if he gets beat at the weekend, I don't know how he can keep his job. But it's just I don't get. Dundee should easily be the second best team in that league.
Aye, absolutely.
Look at the budget. I mean, Dorrans, McGowan, all that crew, Hemmings, they'll all be in a big wage. They'll be in a big wage.
They're definitely, and obviously they've just dropped down from the Premiership, so they're a far better off situation. A lot of the teams down there, because they've came down and they didn't lose a great amount of their team. They've still got players there.
But they added quality to it.
As well.
Like Graham Dorrans is a perfect example. He should absolutely stroll that league. And he's not doing it.
I know, because Graham Dorrans is somebody who's played at the Premier League level.
I mean, when he signed for Dundee, I think a lot of people said, why didn't he go to a Premiership side in Scotland? I mean,
maybe I think this is what we spoke about. We spoke about in the last podcast. I think it's just purely too many egos in the team, purely attitude problems.
Maybe.
I think there's got to be something there.
That should balance out with the fact that there's so many leaders and experienced players who've been through the ringer before in their career.
You'd think McPake would get a hold of it, though. It's just something, especially a man who's been involved with Dundee for a long time.
Captain too as well on
exactly.
the pitch. So I don't know. It's going to be, the fallout from that game will be interesting regardless of who takes the 3. Could be a draw. A draw would do not much for either team though. Again,
Partick are in a situation now they need to string up wins. They need to do it fast.
Yeah. For Queens at Morton, have since turn of the year have improved. Queen of the South, I saw them last week, obviously, against Dunfermline, and it kind of feels just now for Queens that if Stephen Dobie doesn't bail them out, they're going to struggle because they don't have many goals in that team. They're another one who could be in real danger of getting drawn into the relegation battle if they get beat again this weekend. And to be honest, I do fancy Morton because they've just got a bit of strength again. Before Christmas they looked really like they were in danger of going down. They've turned it round. They look difficult to beat again, and I do fancy them this weekend.
I fancy Morton. I just think, you've seen it yourself, they've strung up a couple of wins in situations where they've needed them this season.
Yeah.
And it looks as though the perseverance is there on that side. Queens, I don't
They
know
are
too much about
so heavily reliant on Stephen Dobie though.
That's the thing. That seems to be the story for a long time now.
Yeah.
I fancy Morton. There's not much to add into it. I mean, this is a game that's been rescheduled for a long time, isn't it? So, it's like 4 teams this weekend in desperate need of a win. If I was to pick who I fancy both, Morton and Partick, I'm taking.
Yeah, Morton a draw. I think I just don't know how to split Dundee and Partick.
I know it's a really kind of.
I think Partick Thistle.
Dismal at both
I suppose
sides.
with Thistle, at least there is some positivity in that the fans are united behind the manager. They've made lots of additions that are starting to look positive. Brian Graham 2-2, so yeah, maybe Thistle.
In League One, we've got almost a full card of games. Clyde and Montrose has been postponed due to Clyde having Celtic over at the weekend.
So we don't have a full card of games at all. You're talking nonsense.
I said close to a full card.
Alright, well, we've only got 3 games this weekend. That's not that close to a full card.
Oh, it's more than
half. Aye, fair enough.
So
right, so
prove a bam there.
The story. It's balanced out in this podcast so far. So Wraith. The story this weekend is that Wraith, could extend a lead at the top of the table. They go to. Nah, we're not gonna milk it. They go to Stranraer, where Falkirk obviously dropped points last weekend, so they'll be hoping they don't do the same. If Wraith can go, I think 6 clear this weekend. Obviously, Falkirk will have a game in hand, but I mean the points are far more value than the games in hand. So a big chance for them. Airdrie go to Dumbarton. It's another one of those where they kind of need to win to keep the.
Need to keep the pressure on. Well, try and keep themselves in the battle. Not so much the pressure on, but they want to stay up that top end and really try and be up there with Wraith. Dumbarton's not an easy game though.
No.
Dumbarton away from home, and Dumbarton sitting, I think they're in that kind of mid-par end of the table, aren't they? I think mid-par end, there's no such thing. They're sitting nearly slap bang in the middle. Separated themselves from the top half a bit, but I mean, going away from home to them is definitely not going to be an easy task for Airdrie. Yeah,
and the other game in the league, Cy Ferry and the boys up at Peterhead have a sort of relegation playoff 6-pointer at home to Forfar. Forfar 3 points behind Peterhead. They're sitting I think they're sitting 9th just now, Forfar, I think.
A wee quick browse at that.
Yeah, indeed. So they're 3 points behind Peterhead. If Forfar can go there and win that, they can drag themselves. Well, I mean, Clyde and Peterhead will all be tied on 25.
Right. I mean,
points.
It's not going.
Clyde will have 2 games in hand with it.
It won't be the easiest on the eye game for the people there.
No, it's not going to be a
easy in the eye. But I mean, both teams in desperate need of points. It's actually quite an interesting weekend because if you look at Stranraer, who just pulled off a decent result there,
they're going to have hope they can do
exactly.
I
mean, I don't see why they don't think they could do it against Wraith, but you'd imagine there's just too much there for Stranraer to handle. But we'll see then in League 2 quickly jump over there. Well, we do have a full card.
We do have a full card. Yeah. 5 games. Yes, well done.
Thank you.
So, yeah, a bad week for both the top sides last week. Both dropping points. I say a bad week. It was a good week for Cove in that Edinburgh didn't take advantage. But Edinburgh City at home to Annan. They got beat at home. Was it at home by Stirling Albion last week? I'm sure they got beat at home.
Aye,
so
I think you're right there.
They'll need to. It's getting sort of to the stage now where if they want to really chance Cove for the league, they can't avoid any more slip ups. Cove go to Elgin. It's just hard to see in past a Cove victory.
I know it's just at that point in the season now where Cove are just probably going to work towards wrapping things up.
You'd have thought so.
Even though Edinburgh City are not far behind them, Edinburgh City have dropped points here and there that suggest that Cove are going to take this title.
How many more chances are they going to have like last weekend?
I know exactly. It's one of those things where the mentality in the changing room is like, we go off here.
Yeah.
Don't let this happen again. In the Cove changing room, you've got to be thinking that's what's going to be thrown across.
Absolutely. Elsewhere in the league, down the bottom, Brecon, who are obviously adrift at the bottom of the table, they go to Albion Rovers. Desperate need a result for them. made some additions towards the end of the window. It's one of those for Brecon though. If they do get drawn into a relegation battle and they do end up going out the leagues, it's one of those that's going to be a struggle to get them back, I think. You look at Berwick Rangers are really struggling to come back, so it's massive this second half of the season for Brecon, and they need to start racking up results, and it doesn't really matter how they do it as long as they do.
And as long as Mark Wilson keeps his job.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if
what was it said in the Clyde SSB mean tweets? 2 shots, the Papach and the goal.
Papach the goal, and this will probably be added into the embarrassment as well if they go down. But
yeah.
I mean, League 2, we'll quickly jump through who do we think's going to win each game. We'll at least get a wee prediction here and see who gets the better of it in the next episode. Stennis and Cowdenbeath.
Cowdenbeath, Blue Brazil.
You taking Cowdenbeath?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll take Cowdenbeath. And I was going to go for Stenny just because I've been down there and all the rest of it, but nah, no point. Stirling Albion, Queen's Park, who you taking?
Queen's Park, they've had a good January window. Big signings in, like.
Aye.
They've just got young defender Stuart Morrison on loan for Dunfermline, who started the season well, centre half, played it in the game at Celtic Park, actually did really well. He's going to Queen's. They just signed Craig Slater this week as well from Thistle. So
that's a decent signing.
Yeah, I fancy Queen's Park.
I'm going to take a draw in that game. I don't know why. It's screaming the stalemate of the games here when I look at all of them. Edinburgh City and I'm going to take Edinburgh.
I fancy both the top 2 to win this.
Aye, sure, that's it. There we go. Cove to beat Elgin as well. And then finally Albion Rovers and Brecon.
Go on, Brecon.
You think Brecon?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to take Albion.
I just want Brecon to stay up because
I would like Brecon.
It's a ground I've not been to, and I've heard that it's a brilliant ground to go to. The Hedge, you know.
Oh, that's they're one of the ones with the lovely park.
Yeah, I just always wanted to go, so I don't want them to go out of the leagues in case I miss it.
Well, fair play. That's a good point. And that wraps up the games for this weekend in the
leagues.
4 flights of football. The Scottish Cup is back once more.
Yes.
Very exciting. I love it. I really do love it. But what is going to happen in it, because we've got some decent, interesting ties here. The first one that pops out of my head straight away is BSC Glasgow and Hibs.
Yeah.
That is massive. This is a big day in the very short history of this club.
Yeah, you can't wait to watch it.
It's going to be a cracker to watch them get battled about 5-0 off Hibs. But,
you'd have thought so. I mean, you've seen these things happen. Like, Auchinleck Talbot are always the juniors' sort of glorious story. They always do kind of well. Listen, if they can make it difficult for Hibs and Hibs have a frustrating day, then who knows? But I would fancy Hibs to win.
I mean, honestly, it's mental how if it was still the start of the season, Hibs.
You can easily see them slipping up. Now I think they've just got too much quality and the players in form and stuff.
It's absolutely going to be a Hibs battering there. You can imagine.
You'd have thought so.
You'd like to see Doidge continue his form when he has a chance to get another hat trick.
Well, that's if he plays. I mean, Jack Ross. He might rest some.
I know he has the opportunity to rest, but then again,
you don't want to overdo it.
You don't want to risk it as well. You don't want to go into the game underestimating these boys,
course,
and then you're left with. I mean, because the last thing you want to say is we were knocked out the Scottish Cup with someone who's not even in the leagues. That would be embarrassing for Hibs because they need a cup run. You'd think, to kind of not save their season. I think their season's been pretty much saved, but it's not been an enjoyable season.
No,
for
I mean
fans
they're probably not going to finish in the European spots unless they really turn it round.
Unless they want to win mental amounts of games.
Yeah, and then just to have something to strive for, a cup would be massive.
And then on to where do I go next year? I'll let you take it away.
Let's go to Ayr St Johnstone. I was almost at Ayr this weekend again.
And you've been changed. You didn't even tell the people when you're this
we'll
weekend.
We'll come on to that.
Alright, that's fine.
So it's another chance for a cup upset. I fancy Ayr again. I mean, they did it to County. I just think teams going down to Somerset. Mark Kerr's got that team really well drilled just now. I fancy Ayr again to be the cup shock of the round.
That's the same as me. I just there's something about that Ayr team that I always just look at and I'm thinking against teams like this they could do it, because I really want to see them come up. No offense to Dunfermline.
No, I mean
Ayr playoff side. I would love to see Ayr get the chance.
It's a proper old fashioned ground. They've got like some really good young players. They've got a club that's really sort of
they've risen through the ranks over the last few years.
I mean, I almost called him Stuart McCall. Ian
McCall did
so well,
and then Mark Kerr has done a fantastic job at inheriting it and taking on. Because I'm not going to lie, when Mark Kerr did take the job, I thought to myself, that's the Ayr story done.
I did as well. I thought that was going to be a chance for Dunfermline to push for the playoffs, because I thought Ayr would fall away, and they've just improved almost.
It's mental how well they've done. And St Johnstone, yes, despite the big corner they've turned and we've spoke about, they very much easily could get a result here.
It's going to be a really even game. It's going to be another one of those games you watch in the cup and you wouldn't know which side was the Premiership side. I think it'll be a really even game. Even if Saints do win it, they're not going to win it comfortably.
Stevie May has a chance.
Ayr have got too much about them. They've got too many players in form. Forrest, Kelly, the boy Drennan up front's an absolute handful. I mean, he's going to be an absolute nightmare for the Saints defence, who've struggled this season.
I wish it was a televised game. I'm looking forward to it. And
I'm kind of disappointed I'm not going to be watching it, but you know,
I've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah,
bigger fish to fry.
We'll move on to my big fish to fry then.
We'll move on to your fish to fry.
So, I'm going to be at New Douglas Park this weekend.
As you moaned at me in the last episode, it's the Super Seal Stadium, David.
Super Seal Stadium, yeah, of course.
I have respect for the sponsor, as you said.
Absolutely.
A big chance to, perhaps, if he's lucky enough, then Rangers fans, we might have a wee bit from Gerrard, but we don't know. But Hamilton Rangers, I mean, you can only imagine it's going to go one way.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. Depends. I would say if he rests players, he doesn't really have. I think Canberra will probably come in for this game.
Aye.
Because
a shot.
If he's not going to come in for this game, when's he ever going to come in?
That's the thing. Canberra, for me, well, we've not spoken about transfers too much. For me, I don't know, he's just made that terrible
Just there
move.
just in case Morelos gets injured.
He can't even return the
Actually, I was
Hibs
saying he was going to, he's got no chance of going back to Hibs now. I was saying Canberra would come in, but actually Morelos probably needs a goal, so maybe they do keep him in just to get him back.
Exactly, because if he gets a goal in that game,
depends how his fitness is.
Something.
Because we know he was carrying that knock heading into the last two, so maybe Gerrard will rest him. I don't know. But Gerrard, he's a thought there's boys on the bench that need to get into some form. So maybe he'll make a few changes. I do still fancy Rangers to win.
Yep.
For me, as someone who Steven Gerrard was my absolute idol as a kid, I'm gonna get stick
that's
off
horrible to hear.
saying that.
That's horrible.
Like as a footballer, he was my absolute favourite.
It's actually quite funny.
The fact that I might even get to just see him is just like, oh, amazing.
Just see his horrible, ugly mush.
It's just
no, but like it's actually crazy because there's so many Celtic fans who probably idolise Steven Gerrard. Before he became Rangers manager, and then it just Celtic fans. I've never been a Gerrard guy. Obviously, as a Man United man.
Yeah.
It's always been a kind of pain to me to see Gerrard, but I mean, it would be fantastic for you. I mean, put it that way, it would be groundbreaking.
Just to see him, amazing. Anyway, I'm looking forward to going. It's another ground to tick off the list for me. I've never been to the Super Steel Stadium before.
Not up to much.
No, but it's just another ground to take off the list.
Exactly.
I think both fancy Rangers now.
Nah, definitely. It's got to be Rangers and that. So we've got Ayr and Rangers going through for the two of us so far.
Inverness Livy?
We'll head over there. Inverness Livy. That's another one that's an interesting game. Because Livy, who have been so good this season, once again, they've just had a trip up north and it wasn't good. So they head up north again.
Yeah, I think they're going to win though. Inverness have had a horrible January.
I mean, it would be massive for Livy to get to this stage of the to get through to it's quarter-finals next, isn't it? To get through to that stage of the competition.
Because I think again they're another team who, they're going to try and push to get that European spot, but you'd imagine they might fall short. So a cup run, theoretically, they could have a real good cup run. So they'll be hoping to get that.
Just imagine their season if they got to the last eight. Imagine they could get as far as the last four. If they could get the last four of this competition, a top half finish.
What a season!
What an incredible season! You've got to think at that point. We've already spoken about Gary Holt's got to be on to bigger things, but
for Inverness though, I mean,
that's a big
January's transfer window was hellish for them. They lost McCart and Donaldson, their centre half partnership. Yep. They got beat down at Ayr in a second place sort of battle. They dropped points to Alloa.
As a cup run for Inverness would be a way to put a lot of misery behind them over the past 2
just to get some positivity going again, because I think Inverness is still going to finish in the playoffs and they're still going to fancy themselves to come up. But short term they need some positivity. So, a good performance, even taking it to a replay, wouldn't be a bad thing for Inverness. So they get a decent performance and give a good account of themselves. And I expect it to be close, but I do just fancy Livy to nick it.
You're fancying Livy. I'm fancying the replay.
Okay.
I said it with Hibs and Dundee United in the last round. I got that right.
I'm not. I mean, it's going to be close, but I just think Livy will have too much.
Oh well, fair play.
Aberdeen Kelly.
Yep, head down there to
massive for Aberdeen.
I mean,
massive.
This is a replay the weekend, isn't it? So, last night. Aberdeen. I mean, there's only one way this can go for them, and that is a win.
A replay of last night. Isn't it a must-win game?
No, they played Kilmarnock last night.
No, they didn't.
No,
Johnson. Who's the BAM now? I'll take over from here, folks. Don't you worry. So, Derek McInnes is absolutely crying out for a bit of positivity. A cup run could be massive, as we've said, for him. If they get beaten, knocked at the cup, that's just going to add to the McInnes out thing. Have you seen the hashtag from Aberdeen fans on Twitter? Hashtag Dexit.
I'm not taking part anymore.
No. Hashtag Dexit.
Hashtag Dexit.
Horrendous.
How long does it take for them to come up with that?
I don't know. I've seen it a few times though.
But no,
they absolutely have to get something here. Kelly have turned a corner and they will go up there with a lot of confidence. I've got a feeling they've got a good result against a good record against Aberdeen, especially with Todry Lowe. I could be talking nonsense. Something tells me they've got a really good record up there.
Well, something tells me that
Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe Aberdeen have got a great record against Killie, but
who knows? I mean, they've not got it up in front of us, sadly, but something tells me the thing it screams like this game is if Aberdeen go out here, it's got to be close to game over for McInnes, man. It's got to be.
Well, in the eyes of most fans, yeah.
It's just abysmal. It's just. I've got a good pal who's an Aberdeen fan, and it's just saddening to hear him every week. It is, and they need this cup run. For me, this is an Aberdeen win. If they don't win this, what do they have to do? They need to. There's players there that shouldn't be there. They've got to cut a deadwood. They've got to get a Manachiro. There's just a lot that has to
scoring
change.
some goals, man.
And this is a game where you'd imagine in a cup, a cup game's a wee bit more, throw it. We could put a bit of welly into it.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah, because they've got nothing to lose at the end of the day. Really, cup games you've got to go for the win.
Aye, that's it.
Yeah,
I fancy Aberdeen.
They've got to win.
I don't know about you.
No, I don't. To be honest with you,
I don't fancy them in the terms of.
I don't know if I fancy Killie to win. I just don't think Aberdeen will win.
I don't fancy Aberdeen in the terms of they're definitely going to win. They just need to win. They need this. They need to get to Hampden this year.
Said that about last night's game though, and they didn't do it. So.
I suppose.
No, I think it'll be a draw.
You take the draw in this game. Oh, deary me. I mean, it's not a far cry.
So 2 left.
2 left to go round.
I think the tie of the round is Falkirk Hearts.
Aye, that is a big one because Falkirk obviously flying down in League One, but Hearts struggling in the Premiership. Could we see an upset, Mr. Buick?
It just depends what Stendhal thinks of the cup. Does he care about the cup?
I think for Stendhal, I honestly don't think in his mind right now the cup is his priority. I think that the league is
priority is 100% stay in the league.
His priority has got to be in that league, bringing some positivity back. But this is a big step to bringing positivity back because you've got a chance here to get your team through to the quarter-final of the cup. A chance for to try and get players like Boyce and that still scoring if they play.
There's so many teams in the Premiership that a cup run could be a sort of catalyst for a positive end to the league seasons, and Hearts are definitely one of them.
I mean, they got to the final last year, obviously, despite having not the greatest of league seasons.
Probably kept Craig Lewin a job, that cup run.
Definitely did, because it should have been gone. I thought it should have been gone after the final when they lost it, to be honest.
Should have been gone when he hired Ian Cathro, but anyway.
True.
No, Hearts, I fancy Hearts to go down and win at Falkirk though.
Aye,
because I mean,
as much as like a wee story of Falkirk here beating Hearts, I know you wouldn't, but I mean, as much as I'd like Falkirk to perhaps get to the quarterfinals, give Celtic a potential of an easy tie.
One of my favourite Scottish Cup memories of all time is Falkirk getting beaten in the cup final just so they didn't win it. James Vincent scored for Inverness, amazing.
That's like 2016 for me.
Yeah. Oh, it was up there. I mean, I think that cup final might have been the year before Hibs won it. I think Falkirk Inverness. James Vincent scored the winner against Falkirk in the cup. What a day!
Sounds about right.
But no, I fancy Hearts to win because what Stendhal's time has showed us is that they tend to chuck in a good result after you know what I mean. They don't tend to
1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah, so this might be another
step forward. Completing the next step of the achy breaky heart.
Yeah, so full of wee references today.
They're just coming out of nowhere.
So yeah, I fancy Hearts. But it'll be an interesting game.
I'm taking Hearts in this one. I'd like to see McManus and Cole go to do something, but I think Hearts will have too much, and I think it'll be kind of one of those ones where Falkirk look at the reality of how big the gap is between themselves and Premiership opposition.
And then finally,
we head to.
Tell you what Celtic should be doing though.
Broadwood.
Getting Roy Keane in for the team talk.
No, let's
get him in for the team talk.
Let's not.
That would be the worst result of his career. Get him in to rectify it.
I mean, I can't believe that actually happened that day. But how straightforward can this be for Celtic? As much as Clyde have got the facilities and David Goodwillie to score goals. There's got there's only one way this can go.
I think Lennon said last night that he would probably make a couple of changes.
I
think
would love to
will come in, Christie will come in.
I'd love to see the boy Welsh come back into the team.
Start.
I'd like to see Klamala get a run out. I'd like to see Welsh get a run out. I would like to see
Christie and Rogic
even the likes of. I'd like to see maybe even Ewan Robertson coming back into the team.
Yeah, Elyounoussi will probably come in.
Elyounoussi hopefully gets back in.
Bolingoli probably.
Does Craig Gordon get his long-awaited start?
So.
Foster will still be in goals. Yeah. Neil Lennon just adores Fraser Forster.
Why not though? Welsh will probably come in to the. Will they play a back three?
There's no need for it in this game because you could play fucking 4-2-4.
Yeah, I mean,
pardon my French.
Simunovic isn't going to play because it's a AstroTurf pitch. You wouldn't have thought Simunovic will play.
Simunovic as well looked. He's looked a little bit, after he went off against St Johnstone. He's looked like
took a few knocks last night. As well.
Exactly. He looked down it. I think they'll maybe want to give him the little bit of a rest going into this game. Look, Celtic, they've just give the ball to anyone and we should be able to create against the team. No disrespect to Clyde, but we should be able to put 3-4 goals by them.
If you can make changes and you're bringing Ryan Christie and Tom Rogic into your team.
I never know. Could they repeat that day back in 2006?
Not a hope. Lennon won't allow it.
There's a lot that's different since then.
If they're even in any danger of that, you'll pull the boots on himself and go in and kick lumps at the Clyde boys. I mean,
they're probably Whitey on the side of the park.
Yeah. I mean, if Danny Lennon can do it, if Danny Lennon, the Clyde manager, can go in a game and play them, why can't Neil Lennon?
Danny Lennon's better than Neil Lennon at this age.
Danny Lennon, have you seen the Barnet he's rocking these days?
I know. What's happened to him?
I don't know.
Did he let you... What is that?
I actually hadn't seen him for since he was at St. Mirren.
Since he won the cup.
And then 5 years later, he's like...
Silver hair down here.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I thought he spent some time under a bridge or something. I don't know. It was baffling to me when I seen it. But Celtic, we've both got to take Celtic there. And another interesting weekend to win the cup because there could be shocks everywhere. You just don't know.
Yeah, I think Ayre's the one for me though.
Ayr, I'm taking Ayr. And I'm more fancying Inverness, but I'm sticking with a draw.
Yeah.
I'm more fancying them though. But we've spoke a decent bit there. I mean, David, that was a good show. I mean, we've got an hour of content here. Good stuff. I hope they all enjoy it. And we've got hopefully a weekend video coming up as well.
Yeah, I think that's our plan. Is we'll try. We're definitely going to do 2 podcasts a week and try and get something at the weekend.
Hopefully, it's only a matter of time. Before we spoke on it briefly in the last one, hopefully it's only a matter of time before we have equipment as well to show face and get everything done.
I don't know. I feel like I've got a face for radio, so.
Oh well. I've not.
I'm just saying that for someone else does. But no, thank you all for the support again. Been fantastic. Up at 275 subs now, which is just been amazing. We've set ourselves little targets and we're just
hopefully we get to 500 as quickly as possible. On that note, make sure to share out and make sure you get as many of your friends listening to the podcast as possible. Well, we tell it how it is.
Yeah. Like we put the world to rights at the end there. I wasn't even planned, but I've done it anyway.
I just came out of nowhere.
So yeah, like, subscribe. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.